Change managers with Akwasi. Be the minds who are changing our worlds.
The emergence of the Ebola virus in West Africa is causing some corporate leaders to rise up to take the challenge of fighting some of the issues that are confronting us as a country. My guest is Kenneth Kwamina Thompson, the Chief Executive Officer of Dalex Finance, to explore how corporate Ghana can take up the leadership mantle in confronting some of the issues that we are facing as a country. Ken, you are welcome to Change Managers. And how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Congratulations to you. You've done so well with your company. Your company has moved within 7 years from 0 to 16 on the Club 100.
Yes, well...
And you have about 1,000 people
we have about
that you're
1,000 people.
employing.
Yes, we have daily work.
What have you done right? What have you done so well?
See, what I have to say is that Dalex actually started with only 3 people. We started with 3 people in 2000.
About 3 people?
Yeah, three people.
And within 7 years, we have moved to about 1,000 people, over 1,000
yes,
people?
Yes. You know, we have contract sales executives. We're all over the country. And for us, we believe in Dalex everywhere. But what we do, you know, we do business loans. That is in Accra. Then we do loans to government workers, which is throughout the country. But when we started Dalex was founded by Mr. Alex Brooks. But when we started Dalex, we had a vision of creating an institution, and we had challenges. But I think every business goes through challenges.
You had a vision of creating an institution, a business institution.
Yes, we have. For me, if you ask me what my vision of Dalex is, I tell you, I want a 60-story glass and steel building filled with energetic people working. You know, and probably my office on the top floor. You know, in the glass room, I can see everything that goes around me. That's our vision. And we believe that, you know, any good institution needs structure. We spend a lot of time on structure, spend a lot of time on training. We take risk. You know, we are very creative in how we work. But above all, Dalex has a fantastic team. I mean, I represent Dalex, but I have a team which is fantastic. And I'll say to everybody that teams always win. Teams always win. So if you want to win, you got to create a winning team. So my job as CEO is to make sure I create that winning team.
You described a certain vision in terms of the kind of structure that probably you would want to find yourself in. A 60-story building.
Glass and steel.
Glass and steel.
Glass and steel.
And I think that represents a certain kind of leadership that maybe I'll say has been expressed in some of the activities that you have been doing of late. The setting up of the Ebola Fund, for example. It seems that that's the first time that we are seeing a corporate organization taking on a national issue with that level of energy. Does that represent the character of Dalex?
Yes, Dalex is a very dynamic company. And whereas I represent the face of Dalex, there are a lot of people that work in Dalex. But we have been concerned for some time. I mean, the more I read about Ebola, the more I got concerned that, you know, they say in Tree, I'm not saying properly, something along those lines. And I thought that what can we do? I mean, you see, the private sector in Ghana is the game changer.
The private sector in Ghana is
the game changer. Look at what the private sector has done in telecoms. Look at what is done in transport. Look at what is done in financial services. Look at what is done in healthcare. I've always said the private sector is the game changer. So I was thinking to myself, with my team, and I was saying, what can we do to make a difference? Because, you see, even coming to the studio, there was a program on the TV, on the radio that said the World Health Organization estimates that almost maybe 20,000 people have been infected. And Ebola is such a serious issue that it affects us all. Can you imagine if Osu was quarantined? Nobody going, nobody coming out. Can you imagine if it happened in Osu? Can you imagine what happened in East Legon? And then, so as a private sector, what can we do? So the more I thought about it, the more really I got concerned that we really need to do something about it. And really, one person can make a difference. I don't have some magic wand or some huge resources that I'm throwing at it. I will set up a $1 million CD fund. Dalex itself has pledged 100,000 CDs. We're doing posters, we're doing flyers, we're doing SMS, we're doing information vans, and from the next few weeks you'll see the fund, come out in the press. We've been out in the press, but you see a lot more activity. But think about the ease with which Ebola could spread in this country. Okay, even assume that everybody knew that you should wash your hands with soap and water, but the water is dirty. Think about that for most people. For most people in this country, they don't have running water. For most people in this country, they don't have water closets. And for most people in this country who live in the rural areas, it's important that the information gets to them. I mean, I come from, part of my roots come from Shama, a village. It's Shama village. Well, the people in Shama will probably slaughter me. But it's a town.
Compared to Accra.
Well, Accra is a town. Yeah. But it's a small place. And I went there a few weeks ago, before the initiative. When I went down the beach and talked to the fisher folk, just to find out what was going on, I happened to mention Ebola. They had no idea what I was talking about. And let's remember that the populations in West Africa have been moving amongst themselves for centuries. For most people, the border does not exist. So take somebody in Shama, their brother who lives in Sierra Leone or even Nigeria or Ivory Coast comes, is sick, he's throwing up, he's running, they'll look after the person, they'll clean the person, they'll lie on their mat, he's going to die. The person is they do the rituals in their house, they're buried. Can you imagine the number of people that will be infected? And the threat of Ebola is real. So if we are the game changer, we should need to do something about it. So we're not waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. We've got to force the issue and try and get all of us involved. Because if we add Ebola to our CD, we're in trouble.
Of course.
We're in absolute trouble.
Yeah, we'll talk about the CD, but not long ago I was watching BBC and I saw Richard Branson talking about the fact that business leaders will have to come together and try and negotiate with President Putin on the Ukrainian crisis. I'm beginning to find a semblance of the corporate world, or even corporate Ghana, seizing the initiative to deal with national issues like the Ebola. What is the best way that we can engage corporate Ghana, for example, maybe to begin to identify some specific areas that will effect change? Yeah.
What I've found is, over time, when I look back, as I've grown up, corporate Ghana has sort of withdrawn. I mean, we've all withdrawn into our shells. We've all withdrawn into our comfort zone. But somebody's got to take initiative, and we can't wait for anybody to do it for us. I really get very frustrated when I watch TV and some foreigner has come to tell us about things that we know about and gives us $5,000. And I'm thinking about Ghanaians, what is wrong with us? Why are we not doing it? So we're just trying, and we didn't do it because we thought about leadership in the first instance. We did it because we think that we need to show initiative. And maybe through us doing this, somebody else will also do something else. But the private sector is the game changer. And it's okay for us to say that the government. In any case, when I talk about government, who is government? We are government. Whoever is that, we put them there. So we should be able to influence what they do. But it's not going to come because we will it. It's going to come because we do something about it.
So how does that influence your business philosophy? Because you give out loans to people, organizations, and of course workers. Does that kind of thinking influence your business, the way you do business?
Yes, I hope that I'm a fair person. I think in business, I try and be fair. Of course, I want profit, but above all, I'm fair. And we try and really try and give our customers what they want. Because what I do is I sell money. That's all Dalex does. But what's the difference between Dalex selling money and somebody selling tomatoes or somebody selling peanuts? It's the same. We are all providing a service. And for me, service is critical to our business. The people that we work with is critical to our business. Business is about relationships. And then also, if we want our business to thrive, we have to invest in the people. And we spend a lot of time on training, spend a lot of time on structure. Our corporate culture, I have a whole corporate culture, and it's the market culture. And everybody in Dalex knows that knows that we've done training, talked about it, and that culture was not determined by me. We had workshops, we brought people together, we had a whole change program. Then we all decided that we'll go for the market culture, and we have a shoot to kill policy. In Dalex, we have a shoot to kill, but we don't take prisoners. So what that means is that if you have to achieve something, you have to get it done.
This is Change Managers. We'll be back. You are welcome back. This is Change Managers, and my guest is Kenneth Kwamena Thompson, the Chief Executive Officer of Dalex Finance. Yeah, Ken, I think that we have spoken a little bit about your organization and how you are trying to build a culture that is very resilient and people-friendly within the organization itself. Now, I just want us to look at what you are trying to do with respect to Ebola. You have set up the Ebola Fund. What is the objective of the fund?
Okay, the Ebola Education Fund is set up to provide education to the Ghanaians on Ebola, supported by the BFT and UNICEF. Okay. So the whole idea is that we will take donations in cash or in kind, and then we'll use that to promote information about the disease, because it's all about the knowledge. What we don't want to do is to get to a point when people are scared, but knowledge is power. We're doing posters, we're doing flyers, we're going to do information vans, we're going to do SMS in local languages, we're going to do media, we'll probably do some TV, we'll get radio jingles to play on radio. We're speaking to the Independent Broadcasters Association to give us that time, so that we spread information about the disease. We're hoping the fund is going to be managed by an advisory board, includes people like Mr. Joe Hemming of Deloitte, Mr. Kweku Sechado, Madam Noko Umabu, yes. We're yet to meet. And they will...
Credible people
that
you believe will be able to handle the...
It's not so much, you see, but we need to show a lot of transparency. We need to show transparency. This fund has got nothing to do with Dalex. The whole idea is to get funds or to get donations in cash or in kind to actually spread the word about the disease. And all donations will be acknowledged publicly, and the rest of the money will be given to charity. The initial target is 1 million.
1 million Ghana cedis. And I think that you have donated you have pledged about 100,000.
Dalex has pledged 100.
But it's not going to be something that you are going to put in place so that it will become a mechanism that you can always activate in case we have something like that. Maybe that will also be quite interesting.
I think you see, after some time,
it may not be Ebola, it may probably be something else the next day.
Oh, the fund will have to close. The fund will have to close because it needs to be managed.
Why should corporates Ghana be motivated to contribute to this fund?
It's in their interest to do so. Let me go. Can you imagine if High Street is
closed, like
it's closed, yes.
Quarantine, like
quarantine. Nobody coming in, nobody coming out. Can you imagine if Usu is quarantined? Just imagine. It's in corporate Ghana interest to contribute, because the people that will suffer most is corporate Ghana. So for me, the first thoughts that you can pose mind is, look, it's in my interest to do so.
For your own survival.
For your own survival. In any case, as we have done in other aspects of a country, like things like healthcare, etc., we're showing leadership. Business leaders are listening. What I want them to hear is that it's in our own interest to make sure the word gets out to people about Ebola. We don't want panic, we want information. We always say at Dalex that you've got to fail fast, fail small, fail often. You have projects.
You fail fast.
We fail small, we fail often. Fail often. Okay.
Wow.
What it means is that when you decide to go on a project, you can spend 3 years worrying about the risk. So the cost of implementation goes high. Okay, so we have projects. So okay, let's put 100,000 to this. Will it work? It doesn't work. Okay, move on. It works, move it to mainstream. It's a project. If we're going to fail, we're going to fail fast. So it's a project. It must have a life. We finish, we move to something else. And maybe that will inspire somebody else to do something, because we can't all sit back and wait for somebody to make the change. We are the change. And it's not so much as maybe even they having deep pockets, but it's all about making a contribution. Together we make a difference.
Do you get a sense that corporate Ghana would get on board? Do you get a sense? Do you have that feeling?
I can't start something and think that I'll fail. Whatever happens, I would have succeeded.
Whatever happens, you would have succeeded.
Yes.
But I thought you said you had a target, so assuming you're not able to achieve your targets, would you have succeeded?
Look, at the moment, SecPrint has given us 50,000 CDs. We are printing.
Who has given 50,000?
SecPrint.
Wow.
SecPrint. They give us printing worth up to 50,000 CDs. We are printing. We have already ordered 30,000 posters and 30,000 flyers. And I told you I was going to the Ghana Armed Forces. That must be something.
Mr. Thompson, I wish you well. I wish you and your team well. But how do we hope as a country? Do you have some ideas as to how maybe we can institutionalize this kind of initiative at the national level by corporate Ghana?
My little experience in business, one thing I've learned is not to have fear. And then if we have things that we think we need to talk about, let's talk about it. Let's take initiative. And let's not be afraid that we'll be victimized. In any case, for us to be successful, the society must succeed.
This is Change Managers. We'll be back. You're welcome back. This is Change Managers, and my guest is Kenneth Kwamena Thompson, the Chief Executive Officer of Dalex Finance. Yeah, Ken, we've been talking about how corporate Ghana can contribute to or can get involved in some of these projects. And you also mentioned that your strategy is to just educate people. What is the content of your message?
I'll show you one of the posters we're using. Actually, the sad thing is, I learned more about Ebola from this than anything else.
From the poster that you're holding?
Yes, I looked at it. It has things like vomit feeling, and I'm thinking, wow, vomit feeling. Okay, but you see, the essence, people urinating, diarrhea, sweat, fever, and it's graphic. Symptoms when the person catches a disease, what you should not do, what you should do when you suspect somebody of having the disease. But the essence of communication is that the person you are communicating to must understand what you're saying. It's that simple. So the posters will go out and everybody, you don't have to read or write. It will also be translated into local languages. And any communication that goes out, UNICEF will review it and approve it because they have the knowledge about the disease. Approve it, it will be local language, people can understand, it's graphic, it's very simple. That's what we do.
Talking about communication made me remember the presentation that you did in February 2014 about the CD. And to me, I think